Welcome to Lorian Live. I'm so happy to be here with you today. And we are going to focus on Texas Dreaming. It is coming up next week on May 18th. Congratulations to the team that organized that and put it together, and for everyone, sponsors and speakers. It's a sold out event. It's really exciting. And I wanted to take a moment and let you know that Farron Congress and Danny Cohen from our organization will be there in person. And I know that they are so excited to meet so many of you. And today we're going to focus on how to really help you leverage the conference experience. And frankly, many of the tips and ideas you can use whether you're there in person or not. So I hope that you will take advantage of that. And we're going to touch on a couple of things you can do with LinkedIn in advance of the conference and the Whova app. So, registering for many of the Salesforce conferences now include having access to the Whova app. And honestly, the first few events that I went to, I just didn't really take the time to understand what was available. And it's an incredible app. There's a lot of great things there that will help you really get the return on investment of your time and money at the conference. So, I'm going to show you many of those things. And I'm going to go ahead and get started with a bit of a PowerPoint to share with you. So, give me just a moment. Okay. So, the conference is just such a perfect time to be there, to learn, and it's also an incredible time to network. But I don't know about you, but certainly in my life, I have spent many conferences with the best of intentions. I attended the event, got so much out of it in those, day, 2, 3 days, and then came home and got really busy with life. And frankly, I think the return on investment in terms of impact was much lower than it could have been. And I don't do that any longer. And it's been really rewarding to have a different way of approaching it. So, what I'm going to do first is really encourage you to take this opportunity to polish up your LinkedIn profile. I certainly it's better to do the minimum and get it done. I'm going to share with you the things that are most important, but this is also a really good opportunity to kind of have a more major overhaul, but at the very least, polish things up. And I'm going to share Jody's. She is a speaker and will be attending. She's fantastic. There's a few things I'm going to go ahead and show you just visually. It's so important that you have a header. And there's many different opinions about it. If you have one now, that's terrific. If you don't, there's really easy free options. And Canva is my favorite. We won't go into how to do that, but YouTube is your best friend. Just go to YouTube and ask how to make and attach a Canva header. There's free account, really easy. They have ready to go ones, but it makes you look very polished, and it's basically your LinkedIn billboard. So if you're interacting with somebody or they're noticing you as you're doing some of the tips that we'll talk about later and they go to your profile, they'll get just a feeling of how professional you are. Photos, there are many photos out there that are kind of fun and clever, but they aren't ones, or they're a favorite one from like a wedding or with a friend and they're kind of cut out. It's really important to go ahead and have a photo that is mostly your face, maybe your shoulders, that you're looking straight into the camera. There's a just a psychological effect of being more trustworthy, someone that you're interested in knowing when you can really see who they are and that they're looking right into the camera. So that is a high recommendation. It's really easy now. There's so many apps and tools that you can use to take even a kind of a mediocre picture, but frankly, our cell phones are better cameras than most any in history. So even just a nice photo facing the light, not in the sunshine, but just even inside against a blank wall and just taking a photo that way is just fine. Again, YouTube is a credible resource if you want to just say kind of easy profile, make your own, do it yourself. But at the very least, just get the best one you have, of your face. And I'm going to show you the Whova app later. But as you build your profile, make sure that you're using the same photo on LinkedIn as the Whova app because there's a bit of just awareness there that can make it easier when you're networking and connecting. Right next to your name is you'll see this like a megaphone or speaker. That is, it gives you the ability to pronounce your name. So if you're somebody like me that has kind of a unique name, go ahead and make a recording. This is helpful for people that you might be networking with. This is also a good place to look if there's someone that you want to meet and you just really don't know how to say their name. So I would say not everyone knows that you can do that, but many people have recorded the pronunciation of their name and you can find it on LinkedIn. So you know that you're gonna, meet them or say hello and you're gonna say their name correctly. The next place that's really important is just this headline area. And this is something that you can change out. And I would really recommend during this week running into Texas Dreaming through the week. And if you're going to be really active or make a point of following up with people, which is really a smart idea after, you might consider putting something in your headline that references Texas Dreaming. So you could say attending Texas Dreaming, however you want, or the hashtag TXD23, and go ahead and include that. So if you send a connection request or there's some interaction, people see that and they know that you're at the event and you're going to be at the event. You also want your headline to say kind of what your professional focus is. And if there's anything that you would want to, communicate those, 2, 3 things that you would want people to know about you. And again, certainly can switch it back, but it's a good way to make it easy. A lot of people get a lot of requests, and if they know that it's connected with the conference, they would probably be more likely to accept them. So, those are a few things I wanted to point out first. And if we have a little more time, we'll go through all the rest. The other thing I really recommend, and some people do this, but a lot of people don't realize it, is LinkedIn can create a customized personal QR code for you. And it's easy to do. You have to do it on your mobile device though. And what you do, you can for me, and this was taught to me by someone else that did it. I thought it was so great. When I'm at conferences, change my home screen to be the QR code. So it's really easy. So somebody else can just, if you're meeting them, they can, swipe and just send you a connection request right then. You can also download it into photos if you want, or you can, share it. But I found that kind of initial right away interaction, and I just share it with someone, they can swipe it and send me a connection request in the moment. So where you'll find that is in the search bar. So the same place that you would go search up somebody and their information, you're going to click this little, it's a QR code, like little icon, and you just click it and you'll end up with something here. And it has, again, this is why it's good to have the same photo. It gives your personalized QR code that's going to send the person right back to your LinkedIn profile, and it'll have your name and then part of your headline. So if you ever want to create a QR code for use on like business cards, so most of us don't use business cards anymore, but if you're going to a conference, it's actually a great idea to even have, inexpensive Vista ones made, and you can have one side of it be your QR code, and you can change your the headline to fit really nicely and say a message that you want, make your QR code, then change your headline back to what you wanted. But it's a great way to just, share your information. They have your QR code. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Whova for a few minutes. And this app is really terrific. And I'm going to point out a few things. In the very first screen that you get to when you download the app, you're going to see kind of this overview here. And there's a leaderboard. So those of you who may have been involved, you'll see people like are ranked in the leaderboard. But one great thing to see is kind of who's really excited about the conference and really participating. You can know that those are going to be kind of fast friends to make it the conference. They're going to be people that are just more inclined that way. So it's a great place to see. Photos, this is a really fun area. If you make a point to capture some photos, you can add them here or go back and look. So a lot of people really like to post on LinkedIn or Twitter, and this is a place with kind of shared photos. So you can create some of the collages and fun things that you see people are doing and contribute to the community and just kind of capture some fun moments. There's some polls that you can get involved with, session Q&As. So it's a great way to kind of put out things that you're interested in knowing about for sessions that you're looking at. This is one I'm just going to really shout out to the exhibitors and the sponsors because I having been in the background of several conferences now, honestly, they're incredibly expensive to put on. They're a ton of work, and the tickets are really much more accessible and affordable because of the investment of the sponsors. So, thank you to all of you who sponsors these conferences. The reason they are doing that is to be able to spend time with all of us in the community and to have the opportunity to have folks learn. So, please take some time to go visit them in person, of course. But the other place you can see them is in this exhibitor area, and it will take you to their own little space. And you can watch a video, you can see who's going to be sort of manning the booth, so to speak. There's ways to get into giveaways and all kinds of fun things, but please do support them. They invest a lot of money, and that's what makes the ticket prices so much lower. Speakers are wonderful connections, and I'll show you how to really leverage that. But this is a good place to see, people that are great to know in the community or to make an effort to kind of go see them. And it's a lot of work to be a speaker, and it's a little nerve wracking, and it's feels so good to have people acknowledge that and spend time. I would say Twitter is the most active of the 2. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn that most of you know, but Twitter is where so much of the conference activity happens. So whether you are going in person or you're somebody who just wants to plug in, Twitter will be your best place to go. One of the goals for all of the conferences is to really get the word out, right? And so being able to make your own tweets if you're so inclined, but especially sharing and commenting and liking and just getting into that flow. Honestly, when I made my career pivot, that happened right after a Dreamforce event, and I was not there, but I plugged in on Twitter and was able to connect with so many people and see what was going on. So, really encourage that. There's also Whova guides, and it tells you how to do all of these things. So, when in doubt, just hop over there. Down at the bottom, you'll see this is the home screen. There's an agenda. So many of you who have plugged into Whova know the agenda, but that's not really where a lot of the networking power is. There's an attendee section, which will go into more community and then messaging. So again, Twitter, plug in, go see the sponsors, and really just kind of wind your way around Whova and get to know it beforehand. So, setting up your profile is so important. It really doesn't take a lot of time, and they have some import features. So, you can actually just pull a lot of the information in right from LinkedIn. Again, use the same photo that you want to and share what you want to share with the community. So, if you're somebody who's a job seeker or open to that, maybe you don't want to lean as much into your current company and share that information, or if you're part of a group or organization, you can even share it that way. So you can think about what information do you want to share. The interests really help connect people together. You can share as much as you want. Contact information, how you're affiliated, your background, education, you can plug right into social profiles. So that's part of how I'll suggest the networking is you can go straight from profiles into somebody's LinkedIn profile or Twitter profile. You can attach articles and things that you may have written or things that you think are really helpful. So it's just a great way to, the system will actually connect you together with kind of like people with similar interests. And within each contacts, You can bookmark. So if you go ahead of time and really look at who's going to be there, you can bookmark certain individuals that you think are going to be especially interesting to you to meet for whatever reason. And you can go back really easily then and just look at a list of those that are bookmarked. You can say hi and it'll pull up a section. You can just make something custom. You could make it, very much towards that individual or just kind of start breaking the ice and reaching out and letting people know you look forward to meeting them or seeing them. You can message directly or you can do a let's meet, which I'll show you in a moment. One of the things that I find, and some people are so good about keeping track of everything, but I find conferences a little overwhelming. I'm more introverted in nature, so going to a conference is a lot, but I really want to remember, you know, things I want to follow up on or notes that I thought was really interesting, or maybe something I took away from a session. There's an area that you can just take notes on the fly and then you can go back and do it after. You can exchange contact information so you can decide how much information to make public, but you can actually exchange contact information. So if you wanted to share yours or you wanted to exchange with someone, you can reach out and ask. Not everyone will accept it, but it's a good way to kind of move off of the app into a follow-up conversation if they haven't made their information public. This is that arrange a meeting. So it's kind of nice. And it's a good way to be more specific with someone and it just, how long, what times you might be available. You might be able to, go in between things that you want to make sure to see on your agenda, which is really cool. Where you might want to meet and a little personal message. So again, it may or may not work for them, but it can kind of break the ice and start the conversation. And you can really take advantage of having the opportunity to meet with specific people. And then after you do that, the attendees will be again this little booked mark area. So those are those that you starred. So after you've spent the time to do that, you could just focus on that list versus everyone. And that's just down here at the bottom. The recommended individuals will actually show you out of an event, and some events that are bigger, it's even more important to do this, but you'll want to see what you kind of like connections. So maybe an area, perhaps you want to really meet people that are in a specific area, have a shared work history, school connection, or interests. There are a number of categories. So there's, hundreds of people going to the conference, but maybe you want to get down to volunteers. Sometimes it's just thanking the people that made this happen, but you'll also find individuals who organize and volunteer are going to be usually great people to meet if you haven't already. The exhibitors, again, support them, get to know what they're offering. And for those of you interested in job changes or actively job searching, I think so often the community forgets about companies and partner companies. So there's a lot of focus on going to work for Salesforce customers. I think the partner community is really something that isn't explored as much as it could be. So a lot of these exhibitors are going to be people working for companies that are, very much affiliated with Salesforce, but could be some really interesting opportunities. So take a look at that. And then speakers, again, it's a great way to kind of see who's coming, see what all the topics are about. For those of you interested in becoming a speaker, this is also a great way to reach out to a few people and get some advice. It's a wonderful way to elevate your career. So that is the overview of the high points of what I would really recommend. Let me go through here. Jana, thank you for joining. Anita, great to see you. And yes, definitely download the Whova app. I mean, honestly, it is such a cool app and a great way to be connected. So the those of you going to the event, yes, feel free to, drop your LinkedIn profiles, connect with each other, have such a great time. and the tickets are sold out, unfortunately. I don't think that they are going to be offering any more tickets. But if you didn't get you weren't the lucky one to get able to be able to go to Texas Dreaming. Dreaming in Color is coming up in June. Forcelandia, come to beautiful Portland in July. Midwest Dreaming is going on in August and Witness Success. So and certainly I know there's a more Tahoe Dreaming. Make sure to get your tickets because those are going fast as well. Let's see. So you can, yep, save the QR code as wallpaper is a great way to show it. Absolutely. That works so well. And I would just say more than anything is have fun, kind of get uncomfortable. For many people, I know those of us that are in the STEM world sometimes aren't the most outgoing and I guess extroverted, and the conferences can really like tap your energy a bit. This is such kind of precious time to plug in and meet people and ask questions and learn, but have a blast. I am so disappointed I won't be there in person this year, but I will definitely tag Danny Cohen and Fair in Congress. They will both be there. I know they would love to see all of you. And if you have any other tips, definitely add them into the comments. So have a great time next week, and we will be back here for Lorian Live next Thursday at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern.